The other day I made a comment that the Raiders and the Panthers might be the worst game that I ever attended, or not the worst game, but one of the worst games. And a lot of people started asking me, what are the worst games you've been to? So I acquired my top 5 list of bad games that I've been to. If you like my shirt, it's actually from Movement Inc. on Instagram. You could go check them out. Starting with number 5, 2014, the Raiders versus the Chargers. The 0-9 Raiders are at home. They lost to the Chargers, and it wasn't the score that was bad. It was the 10th game in a row that they lost. You're in the season 0-10. At that point, you're starting to wonder if you're going to win any games. Things were not looking good. All right, the number 4 game, 2019 Oakland Raiders versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Again, not because of the score, but because it was the final game in Oakland. The Jaguars weren't a great team. They had Gardner Minshew. You would kind of figure they would pull things together and win the last one for the home crowd. Didn't happen. An honorable mention, it didn't make my top 5 list, but the Raiders versus Colts with Jeff Saturday coming off the couch and getting his only win of his career against the Raiders was pretty bad. All right, number 3, the Las Vegas Raiders go to Chicago to face Tyson Bagnet? I don't even know how to pronounce his last name. 2023, the score was 30-12. We flew all the way across the United States to witness that, and it was a bad one. The second worst game I attended, 2015, season opener, Raiders versus Bengals. Not only was it 30-0, I had gotten pretty much no sleep. It was hot outside. The person that I came to the game with got up to go get a beer, never came back. So I'm literally sitting there thinking to myself, do not fall asleep. Do not fall asleep. They'll make a meme of me. I didn't fall asleep. They made a meme of me anyways. Actually, quite a few of them. Okay, we're about to get to the number 1 worst game that I've ever attended. But before that, let me tell you about the worst win that I've ever attended. I know it's hard to imagine that there was a win that was really bad. But in 2016, on Christmas Eve, the Raiders were playing the Colts. Everything was going great. The Raiders were in control of the game from pretty much the beginning. Everybody's thinking playoffs, you win this game, you win the next game, and I think you actually win the division if I'm not mistaken. Well, late in the game, Derek Carr gets hit and breaks his leg, or his spirit, his soul. Pretty much everything left Derek Carr that day and the Raiders. The Raiders went on to win that game, but lost the next game, lost the division, and had to play a road game for the playoffs, and did not work out very well. And we finally made it to number 1. I've been to over 150 games. I've seen some pretty bad beat, but nothing was worse than flying all the way to New Orleans in 2022. Raider Nation pulled up. There were Raider fans everywhere. My plane was full of Raider fans. You couldn't go anywhere without Raider fans celebrating, having a good time, waiting for the game to start on Sunday. The game finally started. The Raiders didn't start. Andy Dalton, who has been on God knows how many teams, he was actually the guy that beat us the other day too, so this makes it even worse. The final score was 24-0, but the main part was the Raiders couldn't even cross midfield. How do you show up to a game and not even cross midfield? The flight home was miserable. Had a stop in Texas, and the whole time you're just like, get me home. I want to get out of here. This is ridiculous. Tell me, do you have any games that you attended that you thought were really bad? Anything worse than this list? These are the top 5 worst games that I've been to. If you want to hear my top 5 best games that I've been to, let me know. Be sure to like this video, subscribe. See you all next time, and go Raiders!